Hello everyone, welcome back to Aagay Barhna hai, building your career and brand in a post-COVID workspace. This webinar series has been brought to you by Rotaract SZABIST. In episode 1, we talked about how becoming future ready for HR was important, and we were joined by HR expert Mr. Ali Abbas, a SZABIST alumni. Today, we'll be talking about personal branding and how it can be used to kickstart your career and brand. Today, we have another SZABIST alumni with us, Ms. Zara Iqbal. Mazar is a product marketing manager at Medallia, a tech company in San Francisco. Hello, and thank you for joining us today.
Hi, thanks for having me. It's great to be back on a Zabis platform and looking forward to it.
It's a pleasure having you here. So, we value your time and we'd like to jump straight into a few questions we have regarding personal branding. So,
Yeah.
how has COVID affected marketing in your organization?
So let me tell you a bit about my role first, a bit about what I do. So as you mentioned, I'm currently a product marketing manager here at Medallia. Medallia is a tech company here in the Silicon Valley, California. It's a customer experience management platform. So from end to end, throughout the customer journey or throughout the buyer journey, from the point where they have buyer intent all the way through when they terminate their contract with you. How do you manage and how do you optimize that customer experience? Prior to this, I was working with a tech startup called StrikeDeck, and that was around customer success management. Now, customer success is a very evolving role. Management on steroids. So just more proactive, just more customer centric, and instead of letting customers go through all the pain and the trouble that they do and then acting, you preemptively and proactively manage customers, and then you let data drive your decision making. So COVID has changed the world in ways that we can't even imagine, right? And I think we're just hitting the tip of the iceberg right now. There's just so much change that we'll have to cope up with post COVID, whenever that will be. But our company in particular, we're focusing more on relationship building as opposed to account expansion. We're focusing more on customer retention, as are a lot of other businesses, because survival right now is the most important thing, right? And how do you add value to what your customers are doing? And how do you train them? How do you facilitate them through the entire process? For example, offering a lot of free trials because we know that financial crunch is a serious concern for a lot of businesses. And how do you basically give back to the community? So we've also partnered with a lot of thought leaders in the industry, and we're helping people who have been unemployed in the process and connecting them to potential hiring managers. So, and then there's a lot of focus on shifting verticals. So there have been industries, for example, hospitality, customer service, that have been really, really badly hit by COVID. But then again, there are verticals that are growing. For example, e-commerce, for example, biotech. So sort of shifting our focus on verticals that are growing and verticals that can be profitable and can help us sustain our long-term cash flow and sustainability in terms of profit.
This has brought about many changes as you've just mentioned. So, do you think personal branding can impact our job prospects?
Absolutely. Like right now, these are unprecedented circumstances, right? Like nobody was expecting anything of the sort. No business had planned for this. And companies are forced to recalibrate and they're forced to re-strategize. And they don't have a playbook for this. They don't have an action plan right now. People are losing jobs left, right, and center. So there's a lot of uncertainty. But then again, as I mentioned, there are a lot of verticals that are growing as well. So not everything is negative, right? And personal branding, well, the economy is facing a huge, massive hit because of COVID, and this will have long-term implications. Digital platforms have seen higher engagement rates, and people are using digital platforms like they were never before. And that just goes to show that the scope that you guys have building your personal branding on platforms like LinkedIn. uh, yes, jobs are an issue right now, but at the same time, it's the right opportunity to start building your personal brand. Why? Because people are at home, right? They have all the time in the world right now. So you can grab their attention like never before. You can engage with them like never before. And right now, I think a lot of you guys are at home as well. You guys are taking online courses. So even you guys have a lot of time. And how do you use that time constructively, and how do you build your personal brand to help you define your future career path? I think this is the time to act. And I think there are three major factors when you talk about building your personal brand. It's very important that you get clarity on what you want to do, right? How you want to do it, and what is the end result. So focusing on these three questions will ultimately lead you to where you want to be. And I think for most of you, the main ultimate goal would be landing a job, correct? Right? And personal branding will get you there. It's it's also important to make sure that you have realistic goals, you have measurable goals, right? Like you can't say, for example, that I'm going to land a job in the next 2 months, right? Is that realistic? Especially in a post COVID world. And personal branding is something that takes time and effort. So you need to put in that effort in order to get those realistic goals, and in order to get somewhere where you've been planning. For example, target, for example, 3 months down, and set like measurable short-term targets for yourself as well. For example, in a week, I'll have my LinkedIn profile all ready and polished, just for an example. A month down, I'll have X number of connections on my LinkedIn. I'll be connected with X number of recruiters or X number of VPs or directors. So it's very important to have realistic, short-term, sustainable goals. Because at the end of the day, I think it's very important that we know that marketing is only one part doing and three parts showing. Showing as in communicating. So you do X amount, but you show 3x or 10x.
Yeah, so you mentioned LinkedIn. How do you think we can use that platform to improve our job prospects? How can we keep it updated and manage it accordingly?
Yeah, so I think the most important thing when we talk about LinkedIn and using it as a medium to increase your job prospects, increase your job opportunities, is fixing your profile first. Your LinkedIn profile uh, truly represents who you are, right? It's your story in a nutshell. So, the first and most important thing when you talk about your LinkedIn profile is your profile should mimic your CV. There shouldn't be any inconsistencies. What your LinkedIn says, the time period, time duration, the job description, whatever roles that you have taken up on, uh, it should be the same as your CV, because recruiters really really closely monitor both at the same time. So you can't have something on your CV just because, oh, it might increase my prospects of getting a job, but it might not be true, and not have it on your LinkedIn. Another very important thing is here is, don't inflate your job roles, your experiences, your volunteering experiences, because there's always a way to you know check for recruiters if this is right or this is not. And you don't want to be in a situation where you overpromise and underdeliver, right? Having said that, what you write on your LinkedIn profile uh, should really represent yourself, right? It should, and there's usually a pre-header on when you look at it, when you open up any LinkedIn profile, there's a pre-header below the picture where it gives like a 2-liner detail of what this person is doing on LinkedIn right now. So I think updating that pre-header is very important as well. And you can start by saying something that you're passionate about, or just, a graduate in business administration, specialization in marketing, for example, and then basically end it with a looking for opportunities in the area. That's, I think, really important. And there's also an option on LinkedIn. Once you're done updating your profile, once you know there are no inconsistencies, once you know you're good to go, there's an option where you make your profile visible to recruiters. Now, again, this might not be so important at your age, but there's also an option where you can disclose that information to recruiters in the current company, in your current company. Obviously, you don't want people in your current company knowing that you're looking for jobs when you're looking for jobs, right? So turning that on is also very important because it increases your visibility and it increases your chances of showing up when recruiters are looking for people in the same role. Other two things I think that are very important, especially at this stage, is start building your LinkedIn network. And how you do that is through sending requests, obviously, but there's a way to do that. And you want to target two essential people here: recruiters, obviously, and directors and VPs. So have a tailored message for each recruiter. Just it doesn't have to be a separate one. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time that you're sending a request, but a general template with a few minor adjustments for each. You can start off by saying something like, I saw your profile and I'm interested and passionate about XYZ. I'm a recent business graduate. And I see that we have some shared connections, and I want to introduce myself. And then basically just end off by saying, looking forward to talking to you, looking forward to connecting, and hope to talk soon. That's when you reach out to recruiters. For directors and VPs, it's very important to have the very people in your network that you aspire to be. Let's just say, for example, 5-10 years down the road, you want to be VP of marketing, let's say, or any FMCG or any agency, right? That's the profile that you should target. And reaching out to these VPs and directors, the best way to do that would be redirect them, share a blog post that they've probably written or a thought piece that they've shared, and just show genuine interest. Just say that I was going through your profile and I was very impressed by your work experience. This particular content piece or this particular piece that you shared on LinkedIn particularly caught my eye, and I'm really passionate about learning about branding strategy. Just giving you a random example here, right? Just it might take time because obviously if you're talking about VPs and directors, their LinkedIn would be full of such connection requests, right? So it's really how you brand yourself, right? And I'll talk a bit more about how you can add something of value and how you can stand out from the thousands of people, thousands of other candidates on LinkedIn.
So you talked a bit about the headline when we opened the LinkedIn profile. So I had a question about that. Obviously, current students, they'll have done the internships that were mandatory for the third year. What would be ideal now to mention that you're a BBA 2020 graduate, batch of 2020 graduate, or a former, for example, HR intern at this company? Which headline would be best for recruiters?
I think you can A/B test. Like here in the tech world, you A/B test a lot of different things. For example, you A/B test subject lines or emails, right? So try putting in both. And it also depends on, for example, in the initial phase, you probably want to say, hey, looking for jobs, right? and see how that works. See if you're able to get traction there. And after a month, maybe change it to former intern at, for example, XYZ, right? At Rotaract. So I would say a lot depends on circumstances, a lot depends on individual use cases. So my advice would be to A/B test both and see which one works.
So we talked about LinkedIn. I think that's a brilliant platform to uh, start building on your personal brand. But what other platforms or other ways that we can use to build that personal brand?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think you can look at it in 3 to 4 different ways. Um, since you guys have a lot of time right now, if you can generate original content, that would be amazing. Have Write about something that you're passionate about. Write about something that you truly want to do. And if not original content, just browse through LinkedIn. Follow pages like Forbes.com, Harvard Business Review, Inc. 5000, um, Wall Street Journal, and just actively repost their articles and always try to share your opinion about a current problem, about a current situation that's been analyzed. I think that's what really helps. And that's what sparks engagement as well at the same time. Try to see if you can write your own content. That would be great. And try to leverage the things that you've done in the past, the various projects that you've done. I know that SZABIST really focuses on activations, especially in marketing, right? I'm sure that you guys would have done a lot of activations, uh, a lot of business plans. So maybe leverage that content and talk about that. And it will just show that you're passionate, you're serious, you're disciplined, and you're determined.
So would you
So
say,
content,
would you say, sorry, would you say we should stick those blog posts on our LinkedIn profile, or maybe
yes.
venture onto a different platform for a personal blog?
So I think you can do either. But even if you're using another medium for your blogs, for example, WordPress or Medium is a very, very emerging and new
Hmm.
blogging website right now. It will always help to repost on LinkedIn. Yeah, because that's your medium for reaching out, for connecting, for sharing. So it will always help to have that content on LinkedIn as well. And then networking. I know that in a post-COVID world, networking will not be as it usually is. You won't get that physical meet and greet experience, but there are a ton of webinars right now. There's a ton of virtual events happening right now. Um, Participate in those, and just network on LinkedIn. Network, network, network. I underestimated networking till I came here. And right now I'm volunteering for a nonprofit that helps to facilitate entrepreneurship, especially in the overseas Pakistani community, helping with jobs, helping settle down, helping start their own businesses. And a lot of people that I came across with got most of their jobs through networking. And it's amazing how much we can leverage out of networking. And the first time I came here, I mean, that's how I started off. I used to sign up for different meetups. I used to go talk to people. You really need to have an immediate return when you network, but later down it might really, really help you out. And so it's content, networking, and then you guys have so much time right now. Learn a new skill. For example, when I came here and when I started my professional career, I didn't know anything about tech. I mean, I didn't have technical background. I did my O levels, my A levels in commerce, um, BBA, MBA, both in marketing. So I was literally lost in a tech world, and it was daunting. I won't lie to you, it was daunting, but I read up, I took courses. Um, And marketing in a tech world is very different. So I had to learn a lot about the various digital tools available. And the way to learn new skills is I can also share a few resources with you. But there are a lot of free courses out there. For example, Google has a digital garage workshop, right? Which, but at the end, if you complete, they give you a certification. And that would be a gem on your LinkedIn profile or your CV, especially at this stage of your career. So really focus on trying to learn new skills. What's new out there? You can even start off by learning Excel. I mean, Excel is, you mean, as important as it was when I graduated, which wasn't a long time back. It was 2013. Yeah. So just start from basics and then move your way up. Like Marketo, Salesforce, these are like the new automation tools for CRM, for marketing, and it would be a feather on your cap if nothing else. So learning a new skill, absolutely. And then I think the last thing is volunteering. When I got here, I had to wait for a particular time frame because I couldn't start working. I had to get my documentation in place. And that's when I started volunteering because that was something that I could do. And I explored a variety of different platforms, a variety of different things that I could do. Post COVID, obviously, volunteering opportunities might not be the same. But again, I can share a few resources with you. There are a few companies out there which do project based volunteering. So, for example, if your expertise lies in sales, cold calls, marketing, project management, you can pick and choose what you want to do. And then you can also volunteer for Rotaract. And I'll let Moin explain that process even more. Because right now you need to get whatever you can on your LinkedIn, on your CV, till you can actually land a job.
We've talked about how we can use personal branding, the different avenues we can use. Now, how effective is personal branding? Can we actually use our brand to negotiate salaries?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, think of it this way. Um, a business, right? A brand, for example. Uh, I mean, the stronger the brand is, the more the chances are that it's going to be acquired or an entrepreneur, the owner can sell it up at a higher price, right? So the more add-ons you add to that brand, the more its market value increases. The same concept goes for personal branding. The more effort you put in on your personal brand, the more your market valuation will increase, right? For example, if you're learning new skills, if you know if you know the basics of digital marketing, for example, if you know how to operate Salesforce, for example, if you know the basics, which are PowerPoint, Word, Excel, right? That all adds to your personal brand. And if you, for example, if you write content, original content, that shows that you are passionate about something and you were determined to take it all the way. So absolutely, if you can build your personal brand in a very constructive way, that is going to add value to to your future prospects as well. And you can then use those to sort of negotiate your salaries with your employers. And I think, your personal brand will speak for itself when you will have done XYZ things and when you will have XYZ number of things on your LinkedIn or on your resume. So absolutely, your personal branding can make or break it for you as far as future prospects go.
That was very insightful. But so, quite a number of graduates, especially post COVID, would be looking to venture into entrepreneurship. How can aspiring entrepreneurs harness personal branding to kickstart their brands?
That's a great question. And I volunteer for a nonprofit that does exactly that, you know. Um, So a new business venture is only as successful and as effective as the person behind it, right? I'll give you an example. For example, Look at Elon Musk.
Mm.
His personality and his personal brand mimics his innovations. He always wanted to do something out of the box, something thoroughly innovative, something that people haven't even, thought about. He came up with the first online payment system, PayPal. He came up with the first electric car, Tesla. He even, went as far as venturing onto space, and he created his own initiative, SpaceX. And he recently sent off a Tesla just to orbit around the moon and, try to get it land on Mars. So it just goes to show that his personal branding was so strong, and his personal branding translated into his startup, right? And translated into where he is right now. So the same goes for everyone, I guess. How much you work on your personal brand ultimately shows on your business idea, on your startup idea. And then how you position yourself determines how you position your brand in the future. So it's very important if you start thinking about how you want to present yourself first, so that later on when you come up with a business plan, you know exactly how to take it to market.
That's fascinating. So we'll be wishing the best to all graduates, be it venturing into the job market or into entrepreneurship.
Yeah, yeah. And then I think just a few parting notes. Just want to leave you guys with some food for thought from one SZABIST student to another. I mean, I think I'm too familiar with the 90 to 100 struggle, and getting things done last minute, getting plagiarism check on your thesis report. So I've been where you guys are, and unfortunately, there's a preconceived notion in the market about only LUMs and IB students making the cut, for good jobs. And while there may be merit to this statement, your personal journey and your personal branding literally makes or breaks your career. I mean, I wish somebody told me this when I was graduating, because it's daunting, right? And having to compete with LUMS and IBA people make it seem as if it's insurmountable, like it's something that can't be done. But don't think like that. I would tell you to start off with positive vibes. It might be harder for you, yes. You might have to put in extra hours, absolutely. But will you get there? Definitely. When I moved here, um, I had to compete with the IB and LUMs of the world, like Stanford, graduates from Stanford, graduates from UCLA, graduates from MIT, and it was very daunting. I won't lie to you, it was very daunting. But did I power through? Yes, because you know one thing that Zabis really taught me was to work harder than other graduates who are in a more fortunate position right now. But I would just tell you to focus on yourself, focus on your journey, and focus on how you will communicate that journey, and land yourself great jobs. So just wishing you guys lots of good luck, best of luck, and hope this session helps. And let me know if there are any follow-up questions. Thank you.
Absolutely. Those were very insightful words there. I certainly will be jumping straight onto LinkedIn after this session and executing the tweaks that you've talked about, and also working on some content for my blog as well. Those were all the questions we had. Thank you for those parting advice as well. It would have been an honor to have you at SZABIST actually in the auditorium, but I guess we're thankful that these opportunities have been provided to us where we can speak to you from here, connecting to country just as in
Yeah.
field. So it was an
No, I
honor.
think it was great. It was great coming on a Zabbis platform after so many years. And I mean, I hope I was of help, and
Absolutely.
I was able to add value.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.